A new twist tonight over an alleged partnership between Taylor Swift and that now bankrupt, now disgraced crypto exchange FTX.
So the biggest news in crypto today involves Taylor Swift and FTX. And even though what's happening with crypto exchange Gemini probably affects you more, I think this is bigger. The Taylor Swift news today is making the headlines.
Taylor Swift, it says here, signed and, in fact, did agree to a sponsorship deal with bankrupt crypto exchange FTX, but executives at FTX decided not to go through with it. I don't know why they would have decided that. This is all according to a person familiar with the matter, which does align with an earlier report in the New York Times, which contradicted these new accounts. The public messaging about what they said happened, the nature of the failed deal between Swift and FTX. An attorney previously praised her due diligence efforts and said the artist asked the exchange to explain why its listed assets were not considered unregistered securities, which at the time we said, wow.
So why this is making headlines is because it was wildly reported a few months ago that Taylor Swift was apparently the only celeb too smart to fall for FTX because she quote-unquote questioned them, saying, aren't these altcoins you're listing unregistered securities?
Wow.
I just figured that was her dad telling her that.
Maybe. But at this point, now they're saying, but the source tells CNBC that Swift did agree to the deal, and a signed agreement was sent to FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried's email inbox, where it remained unanswered for a period of weeks. The source says a group of FTX executives persuaded Bankman-Fried not to follow through with the reported $100 million deal. This all smells weird. Why not? They paid other people with more than 100, didn't they?
He was spending money willy-nilly.
Yeah, I know.
On everything else, including getting access through Michael Kivas to all kinds of crazy stuff.
And I love Joe Kernan's folksy talk at the end of this. He's very likable, Joe Kernan.
And you could have kept everybody else for me. And if you could have gotten Taylor Swift, you could have, I mean, some of the lesser types.
I don't know what to believe on it.
I like Matt Damon, but was he one of them? I don't know. He did crypto for somebody.
I don't think it was FTX.
Yeah, it wasn't FTX. But there were some famous, Brady and Giselle were FTX.
In fact, there's a picture of them on the cover.
And some others, yeah.
Times, I think, today.
Yeah.
Giselle and Sam Bankman-Fried.
Yes.
There it is.
Oh, what's that paper?
New York Times.
Oh, no wonder I didn't see that.
And why this matters to you as a crypto holder, it doesn't. But why this matters to you as a Swiftie fan, expect her next song to be about the breakup, business-wise, between her and SBF. And again, as a crypto holder, this Gemini lawsuit news affects you and me so much more. But just very quickly, major news. Sega has announced a super game arriving in 2026 featuring all of their biggest IP. And will blockchain be involved?
Because we've been hearing executives talk about a super game coming sometime in 2026.
Right.
Is that correct?
Could be, yes, sometime around that area, I would say.
And that would incorporate all of your IPs or various IPs from your catalog.
Well, we are not, somehow, showing that direction yet, but it's likely that, one of, maybe our IP will be utilized.
And how about blockchain? Will that play into the super game?
We are not clarifying, but we are not, denying the potential.
When it comes to incorporating Web3 into video games, it's no secret that gamers, some of them have aversion to Web3 and incorporating that technology. They say, it feels more like pay to win.
Yeah.
It feels like you're sucking out some of the fun out of playing the game. What do you say to that?
Yeah, we are very careful. Utilizing Web3 name because we understand that especially Western gamers do not they're not big fan of Web3 initiative. So and it's true there are lots of initiative focusing on play to earn kind of concept. Pretty much focus on money, but in a way, blockchain technology, which is a major part of Web3 initiative, it's not really just for money. And it can be used in that way, but we are trying to really figure out what is the right way best way to entertain the audience, in a way. So I mean, we are still evaluating. That's somehow, I say, evaluating, searching, learning.
So Sega does see a future in blockchain in general. We know this because they trademarked the concept of their own NFTs at the peak of the last bull market. So they were interested in learning more at least. Yet today, Sega exec ices blockchain gaming plans, calls play to earn boring. So publicly, they're announcing they're taking the wait-and-see approach. Although just like Larry Fink and BlackRock years before, we don't know what Sega has planned behind the scenes. Now let's get to the biggest news involving Gemini. Hey, that's my brother. I do just have to say, Altcoin Daily did just join Threads. That's Facebook's version of Twitter. I will put a link down below if you want to follow. Gemini update. Gemini today, or maybe yesterday, files a lawsuit against Digital Currency Group and Barry Silbert over Genesis and Earn program. So Gemini co-founder Cameron Winklevoss alleged Barry Silbert committed fraud by knowing Genesis was massively insolvent when attempting to continue the Earn program. And just for some background, we know that every Gemini user that was using their Earn program does not have access to their money. This lawsuit is intended to recover Gemini's funds from Digital Currency Group, DCG. And as you remember, Barry Silbert is the CEO of DCG, which owns Genesis. And this lawsuit alleges that Silbert asked Gemini to continue its Earn program, even though he, and I quote, was aware at the time that Genesis was massively insolvent. Now, obviously, Barry Silbert and Digital Currency Group deny all allegations. In fact, this was their public statement. This is yet another publicity stunt from Cameron Winklevoss to deflect blame and responsibility from himself and Gemini, which operated the Gemini Earn program. Any suggestion of wrongdoing by DCG or any of its employees is baseless, defamatory, and completely false. The one other passage I'll read is, to be clear, neither Cameron nor Tyler Winklevoss have been involved in any of the recent in-person meetings. The mediation process is nearing a close, and we expect to bring the Genesis Chapter 11 case to a conclusion soon. So shots fired back, and then Tyler Winklevoss, just 2 hours ago, responded this. DCG and Barry Silbert failed to address or deny a single assertion in our 33-page complaint. Exactly which parts are baseless, defamatory, and completely false? The indisputable fact is that DCG and Barry were directly involved in misleading creditors as to the financial condition of Genesis. And of course, you don't want us at the recent mediation sessions. We want to reach a deal with real value, and we are not fooled by your fraud and fake proposals. As I get updates on this, I will keep you updated. And by the way, in a bit of personal news, I know that Aaron and I were gone for a week shooting killer whales. We did have interviews going on the channel all last week, but we will be speaking at the Blockdown Festival, actually leaving tomorrow, so expect another set of awesome interviews going over the current state of this market. And like always, see you tomorrow.